Hare Krishna, welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. We will begin with the invocation prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shushrushro Shradadhanasya Vasudeva Kadharuchi Syanmahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat Shrinvatam Swakadha Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Hridayantasto he Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhrutsatam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tadharajastamo Bhava Kamalo Bhadayaschaye Cheta Etair Anavidham Sthitam Sattve Prasidati Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate bhityate hridaya grandhis chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, welcome again. Thank you for joining this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. We have a very beautiful chapter beginning and verses. This is Canto 3, Chapter 20. We will read texts 5 and 6 today. This is a discussion between, these verses, Shaunaka Rishi is speaking to Sutta Goswami. Tayo samvadato suta pravritta yamala kadha apo ganga ivagagnir hare padambujashraya. Read the word to word. Tayo, while the two, Maitreya and Vidura, Samvadato were conversing, Suta, O Suta, Pravritta arose, he certainly, Amala spotless, Gadha narrations, Apaha waters, Ganga of the river Ganges, Iva like, Agha Ghni vanquishing all sins, Hare of the Lord, Pada Ambuja the lotus feet, Ashraya taking shelter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shaunaka inquired about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. There must have been many narrations of the spotless pastimes of the Lord. The hearing of such narrations is exactly like bathing in the water of the Ganges, for it can free one from all sinful reactions. What? The water of the Ganges is purified because it pours forth from the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is as good as the water of the Ganges because it is spoken from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. So, it is with any topic on the pastimes of the Lord or the characteristics of his transcendental activities. The Lord is absolute. There is no difference between his words, his perspiration, or his pastimes. The water of the Ganges, the narrations of his pastimes, and the words spoken by him are all on the absolute platform, and thus taking shelter of any one of them is equally good. Srila Rupa Goswami has enunciated that anything in relationship with Krishna is on the transcendental platform. If we can dovetail all our activities in relationship with Krishna, then we do not stand on the material platform, but always on the spiritual platform. This is very nice. And I was just thinking as I was reading the purport, as we see with Srila Prabhupada's purports, he can give the whole essence in like just one purport. Any one of the purport, and if we take and just carefully and scrutinizingly read and discuss, we can actually get the whole essence of Krishna consciousness or whole essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Really feeling very, very grateful because first thing is coming in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. That itself is very rare. And after that, even if we try to hear, how much understanding power do we have, ability to capture or understand what are the messages speaking about. So not only be able to reach Srimad Bhagavatam, but actually be able to hear these wonderful and extraordinary realizations of the acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and the other acharyas, current acharyas who are giving us this invaluable gift. It's really, invaluable and extraordinary and rarest of the rare gifts. So feeling extremely grateful for having this opportunity to come in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. And also having the opportunity to read and discuss every morning, because I was thinking reading is one thing, regular everyday reading. We just read and maybe share one or two reflections. But here, when we have to go deeper into that discussion and share these verses, what these devotees from the Srimad Bhagavatam are speaking, and what Prabhupada is conveying in the purports, we would have to go a little deeper into the verses and the purports, and that's actually giving us the opportunity for exactly what verse is speaking here. Shanak Rishi is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing of the narrations. The hearing of such narrations is exactly like bathing in the water of the Ganges, for it can free one from all sinful reactions. So that's a very powerful thing. For it can free one from all sinful reactions. Recently, Anatama Prabhu was speaking. It's kind of a radical claim. One may say, okay, it can free you from this particular disease, or it can free you from this particular ailment. Anything, if you see advertisements, it can give just a little claim here, a little claim there. Even that is, sometimes we don't think it's going to work, but still we'll say, okay, let me try, because they're saying it's going to work. But here they're saying it can free one from all sinful reactions. So that's like a really radical claim. And is it really that powerful? One can question. And for those of us who have started this process of hearing, we can see how its power is acting for whatever little sincerity we have in the heart, little attentiveness. It's not super attentive. but still we can see that cleansing happening. We can see how it's transforming the heart, our vision, and our relationships, and everything around us, the whole existence. It's definitely not the same before, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna Katha. So I'm feeling really enlivened and excited with these verses as I was hearing. So Shaunaka Rishi, so this whole discussion happened about Lord Varahadev killing the poor incarnation. Lord Varahadev killing Hiranyaksha. I'm sorry. Yeah, killing Hiranyaksha. And after that, this is like three cantos. And then Shaunaka Rishi is saying, so what happened afterwards? So we see this kind of curiosity or inquisitiveness expressed by the hearers of Bhagavatam again and again. Parikshit Maharaj asked the question, and Shaunaka Rishi himself, he actually says that in this second canto, third chapter, 14th verse, he says the same thing. O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us, because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. So he is so eager, like what happened in this discussion. So that second canto context is the discussion between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami. So Shaunaka is expressing his eagerness. So what did they discuss, Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami? Both of them are like really these amazing devotees. So something amazing would have come from their discussion. So the same thing he is explaining here. Tayo samvadato sutta. That samvada, that conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, pravritta, arose, certainly, amala kada, spotless narrations. So when we see, some of us discussing, at least after becoming devotees, the topics would have become, a little more inclined to have Krishna or the devotees somewhere in the discussion, if not the center of the discussion, or else at least our own struggles in bhakti, how, each of us in a little more confidential discussion, we can share like how I'm struggling and what is helping. And the other person can express, and the second person can say, hey, you know what, maybe you can try this or you can try that. It's okay, kind of encouragement. So the topics, the samvada, the conversations can actually be a little rooted in this. But if we see just totally generic people, it can go all over the place, like, that person did this person did this, and like, so much of comparison and how the other people are better or worse or things, totally out there. And they're not really gonna help anybody in true sense, but it's just taking away one's time. But when we see these conversations between Maitreya, Vidura, Parikshit Maharaj, and Shukadeva Goswami, those are the discussions that Shaunaka Rishi is pointing out. But from our perspective, we can see even the discussion between Sutta Goswami and Shaunaka Rishi. They have such eagerness for these pastimes. They are very learned. They have, studied so much. But still, they're so inquisitive and so eager to hear these narrations of Krishna's pastimes, not only the direct pastimes, but also how Krishna is enacting this whole material world and his relationship and his pastimes with his devotees, including the creation, and which actually occupies a significant portion of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So they're very curious. So that is what is occupying their samvada, their conversation. So that's the core topic. And we can see what that does. Apo Ganga Iva Gagnir. So that is like Ganga water, how like the power of Ganges water, not only in terms of the flow, which can put off even like a blazing fire, but it has the potency because it's coming from Hare Padambujashreya, because it's coming from the Lord's lotus feet. That is the reason it's so powerful that it can remove all the sins of one who actually bathes. And in this context, in the first canto itself, Shaunakrishi again, he actually says this, Yat pada samshraya suta munaya prashamayana sadya punantyupasprishta swadhunyaponu sevaya. Very beautifully he explains. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. So here what he's saying is, as soon as someone comes in touch with this pure devotee who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Lord, they can be sanctified at once. But Ganges, it can take longer time. So one can question, like, why is Shaunaka Rishi saying this? Because we hear and we believe, and in some senses it's true also. Many, not only devotees, everybody, whoever knows or understands the potency of Ganga, they go and take bath. But what happens is, yeah, it does cleanse our sins at that point, but unfortunately, it's not removing the root of the tendency, that propensity to commit sinful actions. So that's the reason, even after prolonged use, hopefully that purification, gradual purification, can lead to, hey, you know what, instead of keep committing the same kind of activities and going there and cleansing, let me actually not even, commit these activities. Hopefully that thing can come. But what happens when we come in contact with these devotees? Sadhya, it's at once, says Sadhya Punanti, at once sanctify. It's like right away. So how does it work? We can question the same thing. Hey, you know what? I have started hearing like whatever, 5 years, 10 years, 1 year. But I'm still seeing the propensity. I'm still committing the activities, even though, yeah, I know better now, but I'm still committing those activities. So how is it working at once? What does it mean? I go through this, like, what does it mean at once? So at once it's already happened, like, but I'm still like, going through whatever. So what's happening? But what we can see is that at once that cleansing starts happening. We can see that transformation, as I was just mentioning at the beginning of our discussion. We are seeing that transformation happening, and that at once I'm understanding that, yeah, we may be committing, as Prabhupada explains, after we switch off the fan still goes on spinning for some time. So we may still see things, what we have been conditioned to, still working. But what we can definitely see is, I'm realizing this, we cannot go back to our previous ways. In the sense, once we have this understanding, sorry, it's not possible. Like, we may be doing things a little bit here and there, but completely like going back to our previous conditioning or previous thought process, as if we have never heard this knowledge, or as if we have never started chanting or hearing. Even if someone, let us say, completely away from the association and completely stopped chanting and hearing, like totally, apparently, quote unquote, they're fallen and they're completely out of Krishna consciousness, but still that connection with Krishna, connection with Bhagavatam, and connection with this transcendental knowledge It's never lost. It's like, etched in the heart. We may not be able to act at that point, but it never goes away. I remember recently, I think we were hearing about this talk by Radhika Raman Prabhu about Krishna's reciprocation to the devotees' prayers. In that, Prabhu was quoting these three real life stories. It's like really inspiring and brings tears to one's eyes seeing Krishna's reciprocation. In one of them, that devotee who was Srila Prabhupada's disciple, he was like, in terms of his ISKCON fallen or whatever, he was completely away from the association for a long time. And he had this Alzheimer's and he could not remember anything, including his name. So he was in a facility and somehow the devotees got to know about him and they wanted to, somehow see what they can do to help that devotee. So they went and they were checking with the reception. Unfortunately, they don't know their like a regular ordinary name. They just know the devotee initiated name. So they didn't even know, but when the receptionist saw them with devotee attire, they're like, oh, are you from this Hare Krishna or ISKCON? They said, yeah, how do you know? She said, oh, I know whom you are looking for. I exactly know. I can take you to that person. And then they asked, like, how did you know? Like, because we don't know anything. And how did you make that connection? So then she said, this person, he doesn't know his name. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know his family members. He forgot everything and anything. But every single day he goes to this hall and he just chants this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He does this kirtan and he becomes like so joyful with that. And then he, asks everyone to join and everyone is so just joyful. So that connection with Krishna and connection with that Maha Mantra, it has not lost. I mean, that's like powerful. Even when somebody forgets, their own selves, but still Krishna, as we hear, Krishna reminds the devotee, even if the devotee forgets at the time of death. So that's like, where can we find such a person to take shelter of, as Uddhava says in third canto. So that's a glory of Krishna Katha and Krishna Bhakti. Once we come in contact, it's just not, it's just not the same that we go back to our previous conditioning. So that is that Sadhya Punanti. That is that at once that cleansing is happening. That the movement is only going forward. It's not really going backward. So that's the power of it. So that is why Shaunaka rishis and all these devotees, they're so eager to hear these narrations, particularly if they're coming from these amazing devotees, because they know they don't have time to just talk about this random stuff or dilly-dallying and whatever like topics that we may discuss. These devotees, they are like completely fixed, and we can understand in some of these places they know like completely what's the glory of this these topics. Even Vidura, when he's asking Maitreya, he goes on glorifying the whole narrations of the Lord. It's not that he doesn't know. He knows, but they're so eager to hear from these elevated devotees, both for the benefit of absorbing themselves and also for helping people like us. In this case, Shaunaka is inquiring, please help us hear that discussion between Maitreya and Vidura. And for us, we are hearing this discussion between Sutta Goswami and Shaunaka Rishi. So it's for the benefit of us that they're actually doing this. And The other thing Prabhupada brings here is the Lord is absolute. So there is no difference between his words, his perspiration, or his pastimes. The water of the Ganges, the narrations of his pastimes, and the words spoken by him are all on the absolute platform. And thus taking shelter of any one of them is equally good. So he's bringing the absoluteness or the transcendentalness of the Lord and anything related to Krishna. And as we hear from Srila Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, as long as it's in relationship with Krishna, it is on the transcendental platform, anything. So even our activities, even our whole existence, when we start acting in that relationship, we do have relationship with Krishna by nature because we are part and parcels of him. But when we are explicitly acting in that relationship with Krishna, then we do not stand on the material platform, but always on the spiritual platform. This seems like, really high. And in one of the purports in the recent reading in 4th canto, Prabhupada is saying, being a devotee is not an ordinary thing, it's exclusive. I mean, just that statement, if we see, out of billions and billions of population, even human beings, if you're not a human being, forget about it. We don't even have opportunity, except for the rare cases, we don't have opportunity to hear from the spiritual master or understand this knowledge. But even in human life, how many people are actually, be able to hear? And even if they come in contact, how many are able to understand and realize the value and take it up seriously? So in that sense, all of us are like, super, super elevated in one sense. Shashik Prabhu mentioned when he visited Naperville, he was saying, all of you are like top of the top of the top of the cream of population. And we were asking, Prabhu, do you say this to every place that you go? And Prabhu is like, no, but this is the thing about the devotees, because you guys are not ordinary people. You have really understood this value and you're sincerely striving on this path and sincerely wanting to practice devotional service and become connected with Krishna. So that is exclusive, that is extraordinary. So in that sense, we can understand the glory of this, as Rupa Goswami says, it is on the spiritual platform when we are striving on that. So we can move on to the next verse. This is text 6. Tana kirtaya bhadram te kirtanyodara karmana rasagna konu tripyeta hari lilamritam piban. O Suta Goswami, all good fortune unto you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are all magnanimous and worth glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord? He's asking a rhetorical question. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord? That means no one will be satiated. So please keep on continuing speaking. Purport. The narration of the pastimes of the Lord, which are always enacted on the transcendental platform, should be received with all respect by devotees. Those who are actually on the transcendental platform are never satiated by hearing the continuous narration of the pastimes of the Lord. For example, if any self-realized soul reads from Bhagavad Gita, he will never feel satiated. The narrations of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam may be read thousands and thousands of times. And still, without fail, new aspects of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. And this same sentiment is expressed by Shaunaka Rishi again in the very first canto, first chapter. He says, Vayam tu na vitrapyama uttama shloka vikrame yat shrinvatam rasagnanam swadu swadu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes. Sorry. Relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. So he is saying this in the first canto, and then he's continuing that in second canto. And in the second canto, we also hear from Parikshit Maharaj expressing this statement to Shukadeva Goswami. When we hear this Srimad Bhagavatam, Pibanti Bhagavata, Rasamrita, from your lotus mouth, it's just like, it's never satiating. Please keep speaking more, when they're so absorbed. And he forgets even hunger and thirst for 7 days, who was actually cursed for the very reason of being thirsty and hungry. He went and put this dead snake on Shamika Rishi. But here, if we see, for like whole 7 days and 7 nights, he is sitting there and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, never tired of hearing, never felt thirsty or hungry. He wanted Shukadeva Goswami to continue speaking. And that's the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, or these narrations. And we see the same thing in many other places. This is one of my favorite topic. Two things in Srimad Bhagavatam really excites me so much. Creation and all, it's like, okay, I just cannot grasp that. But just as a, dutiful hearing or dutiful reading, I do that. But whenever I see this kind of sections where it's glorifying the potency of hearing or glorifying the Lord's lotus feet, I just get so excited. Particularly, I try to memorize these verses. Even the Sanskrit is like so beautiful. So these are just couple verses which elicit the same message very beautifully. Parasparanu kadhanam pavanam bhagavat yashaha mithoratir mithastushtir nivrittir mitha atmana. One should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction. And by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up material sense gratification, which is a cause of all suffering. So this is what devotee association means. When that discussion happens like that, it's just so beautiful. Like it just brings that nivrittir mita atmanaha, that material miseries, all that will be nullified, all that is coming to an end, cessation. Mitho ratir mithas tushtis. Mitha is mutual, that loving attraction and satisfaction. So we can see when we hear some of these, talks by these amazing devotees who have so much love for Bhagavatam or whatever they're speaking about, we just get like, wow, this is so amazing. And we naturally, develop so much appreciation for that devotee, and that devotee gets so much appreciation because they got an opportunity to share their realization, and somebody is, understands their realization and resonates with their sharing and appreciates, enlivens. So it just like, that process is so blissful, like just for both the speaker and hearer. I have heard from one of the some very senior devotee ones. Hearing is really something I love. Out of all the aspects of Krishna consciousness, this is something which gives me so much nourishment. So I love hearing, and when I hear, I try to sit in the front because I easily get distracted. So if I sit in the front and just look at the speaker and hear him, at least hopefully I won't be as distracted. So that's my motivation. So that speaker, they were sharing, I just went after the class and said, Prabhu, this is really amazing, this point, I just share like 2 or 3 points, which would really kind of open a total different perspective for my understanding and practice of bhakti. So then they were saying, I have been observing in the class, you have been very attentive. Thank you for that. I'm like, what? And then they said, that's very encouraging for the speaker when the devotees or whoever is the audience is very attentive and like, kind of we respond sometimes, we laugh, and when we say, and when we realize what they're saying, I was like, oh yeah, kind of, some kind of a gestures. It just gives them encouragement to go on speaking, and the audience is really connecting and relating to what they're speaking. So then I thought it's a mutual process. Yes, as audience from these, amazing devotees, we are definitely getting benefited. But we hear again and again, recently also, His Holiness Rumpa Swami Maharaj, he's mentioning, you guys here at Nepavilla, this is amazing congregation. You really love to come for the classes and hear, and you ask such nice questions. So he is appreciating that so much. Not that, he wants some attentive audience, then only he can speak. These devotees, they have so much relish, so they can continue on speaking. For example, Sutta Goswami or Shukadeva Goswami or Maitreya, they can continue on speaking even without being questioned by, Shaunaka Rishi or Parikshit Maharaj or Yuvidra in these cases. But still, it actually brings that more beauty, more bliss, and more rati, as we are seeing here, loving attraction to that discussion and to each other. So that is something very beautiful. And I was thinking each of us can cultivate, at least when we are sitting and hearing, like really hear, like with our total absorption, because it's so powerful, and also because it's giving each of us that opportunity to really go deeper and relish these pastimes. And I will just mention this one more verse. Oh, wow, 8:11. Time is just flying. This is almost at the end of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam 12:50. Sutta Goswami is glorifying the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam just when he is about to conclude. 13th chapter is the last chapter. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam Tadeva shashvan manaso mahotsavam Tadeva shokarnavashoshanam rinam Yaduttama shloka yashonugiyate. Those words describing the glories of the all-famous personality of Godhead are attractive, relishable, and ever fresh. Indeed, such words are a perpetual festival for the mind, and they dry up the ocean of misery. There is no purport, but it's just the Sanskrit is so beautiful and the translation is so beautiful. We can see how these are attractive, relishable, and ever fresh. And is a perpetual festival for the mind and dry up the ocean of miseries. It's like Shoka Arnava. It's an ocean of misery that we have here in the material world. And these narrations can dry up the whole ocean. Drying up the little thing is possible, but drying up the whole ocean, it's like, it needs like so much power. And Srimad Bhagavatam has that power and potency to dry up the whole ocean of misery. And at the same time, it's not just removal of misery, it's Manasa Mahotsavam, Shashwan, and perpetual. It's a continuous festival. And this Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam, it's giving that beautiful newer and newer insights. And when I was reading this purport, I was thinking recently when His Holiness Rumpa Swami Maharaj was here, these are the narrations, pastimes Maharaj would have spoken so many times, like killing Putana, or like killing Vatsasura, and these pastimes. But he is relishing them so much. Going to this commentary, going to that commentary, and going deeper and deeper. He is studying a lot, and then he is sharing, and we could see such, enlivening when he's sharing. these pastimes I have heard, I think Chaitanya Chan Prabhu, he says, these are not static, these are ecstatic. They have this, something to offer any number of times we hear and read. And we can see that from His Grace Chaitanya Chan Prabhu's example himself, how many times he would have read Bhagavad Gita and how many these newer insights he brings just from one verse. He writes these Gita daily articles every single day. Like on one verse, he has like hundreds and hundreds of reflections. I was like, where did the verse is saying this? How did Prabhu get this? It's like, I just love the way Prabhu brings out these realizations. And so this is what it is. They never feel satiated, and they can read thousands and thousands of times. But still, without fail, new aspects of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. That's because these are connected to Krishna. They are transcendental. They're not like not like a book that we read here. We read once or twice if we really like, and we're like, okay, I know the story fully. But here the message is based on the more we read and hear, the more the heart is opening, the more we are getting cleansed to absorb and understand and get even deeper realization. So with that, these amazing nectarian pastimes and these Shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are ready to bestow us, bless us with newer and newer insights and deeper realizations for us to get even more taste, even more appreciation, and even more encouragement or motivation to continue on this journey. So that's what I thought will glorify, just hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and how it can help us and how it's just so relishable. Yeah. I'm sorry, it may not be a super nice flow or whatever. This is all just whatever my personal, little I could grab, or little inspirations that came through from last night to this morning. I thought I'll just share that. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for joining. Please share your own personal reflections and relishings from the study or hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's always nice to hear devotee sharings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. So I was thinking, when you are reading these verses, or when you are explaining about them, so it says, of course, the Krishna is all attractive, Srimad Bhagavatam is all purifying and very attractive, but it doesn't look for everybody, right? It's like, even for us to get to this stage, it takes so much time. So I was just thinking, of course, we say it's a purification, but when something is all attractive, that too, it is related to Krishna, right? So why why is it not? Why does it take so long, right? I was just thinking about it. Maybe if you can just share your thoughts. You're on mute.
I was just saying, you know the answer for that, Prabhu. Yeah, it's in one sense unfortunate when we have it and we don't have attraction. One thing that's coming to me is this Nectar of Instruction, verse 7, where Rupa Goswami is explaining it's sweet, it's nectarian, but when we have the jaundice, it tastes so bitter. I don't have the personal experience, but Maharaj explains he had jaundice and he actually tasted the sugar candy and it tasted so bitter. We were like, okay, why would that be? It's just so sweet. How can it taste bitter, right? And we can even see from our own experiences, somebody may say this is the best thing, Like, I don't know, maybe we can take the example of kids. We can say, this is the best thing for you, but they're like, no, 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 I'll do the homework later. I want to play now. I want to, continue playing video games or whatever they're doing for some more time. But this is so good. And they're actually seeing. They're also seeing the people in front of them who have worked hard and what kind of position. And I mean, I'm not saying that's absolute, but just to take an example, we may have the knowledge that something is attractive or something is good, but even in these verses, if we see, I think it's in the Vidura actually says to Maitreya, I think one of the verses, he says, the purified souls take pleasure in hearing these pastimes again and again. They want to relish more and more. So, of course, in one sense, we say there is no prerequisite for bhakti or hearing Shravanam, Kirtanam process of devotional service, but for these higher levels of bhakti, for these higher levels of, deeper relishing, I think we need that a certain level of purification. If you see that 728 verse, I think, right? Krishna, I'm not able to get. Okay, it says one should be free from all sinful reactions in order to perform the. Did you remember that verse, Prabhu? Krishna. Bhakti Shastri. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's just not coming. Yeah, so there we were asking how come we don't have any prerequisites for performing bhakti, but how come it's saying one should be free from all sinful reactions in order to perform dhrida bhakti. Sorry, Prabhu? Yes, Esham Tvantagatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam Te Dvanda Moha Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Dhrida Vrata. So that is Dhrida Vrata. For someone to have that kind of great determination or advanced stages of bhakti, I think we do need that purification. So if we see also, right, in the stages of bhakti, we see asakti, ruchi at the like a very like a later advanced stages. It's not like right away we are able to have that kind of attraction, but we have little attraction, we have little shraddha, and then we start hearing, develop little attraction, and then do little service. With that we get little more taste. So it's just like, that cycle is keep on going and going. So then we are able to taste that real nectar and develop that deeper and deeper attraction. Does that address the thing that you wanted to bring to?
Yes, Mathaji. I think, yeah, I was thinking, I think you started like that way. I mean, how unfortunate. I mean, we know it, but still we don't get that attraction, right? What the Bhagavatam is talking about it. So, I mean, very unstable or unsteady. But
Yeah, but I'm thinking we do have attraction. Yes, we may not have as much attraction as Shaunaka Rishi or Parikshit Maharaj, that we sit there and hear for 7 days, 7 nights. But we do have attraction, Prabhu. Otherwise, why would you every single morning do this service? You have more attraction than many, many of us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you.
Any other thoughts? Radha Kunj Behari Prabhu, any nectar? I don't know, you're on mute if you're speaking or not able to speak today. Okay. So if nothing else, we can stop here. Thank you again for joining and for this opportunity. Have a very wonderful Krishna conscious day ahead. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo.